Okay, in this next video, what I want to do is I'm going to make a super simple face filter. All right, like we're gonna do a post-processing filter, which means that we're gonna apply a single effect to the entire image of the input, and I'm gonna run you through the entire process of from the filter to the publishing of the filter to running that filter, let's say in a Zoom session by having a snap camera, by using it in snap camera. All right, so let's get rolling with it. I'm gonna start Lens Studio. Hopefully it will automatically align with my stream. Yeah, okay, kind of got the job halfway there. And in my case, I'm gonna start with a new project. Now, most of the time when you work on your own project, I suggest you start from a template. But for the sake of this tutorial, to keep things simple, I'm just gonna start with a new project. And again, we see this familiar. So here we have our friend. She's already waiting idle. And over here in the object scene, what I'm gonna do. Okay, the kitchen just began upstairs, it seems. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new object. So what I want to do is basically run some kind of post-processing so that the image that we see over here, let's say, goes black and white. All right, that's like the simplest thing I can imagine right now that we can do. So the way you do that is you go to your scene graph, so here where the objects are, and you click on the plus button. And over here you have a ton of stuff. We don't really know what this stuff is yet because, well, we haven't gone through it yet and we haven't really used it. We don't have a lot of experience with this. But you know, if you scroll up and down, there's kind of a bunch of things that you can add. The things that we are looking at now, that we're looking for now, is some kind of post-production effect or a color correction rather. So over here we see the post effects. We have analog TV. We don't know what this is, but we can just experiment a bit and we can try. And over here we see black and white. So I'm going to add the black and white filter, and as you can see instantly on the preview panel, the image has gone black and white. I'm going to add a second filter as well, some kind of post effect, maybe halftoning. Yes, there we go. So halftoning, it makes everything look like it's kind of print work. Halftoning adds a new material down here in our resources, and that material allows us to change the size of the dots in the halftoning, for example. We can make the dots really tiny, as if it was really kind of newspaper print or an old advertisement. We can also change the color of the line. That's actually already looking a little better. Wait. Oh, I cropped it out. Yeah, for some reason they place the OK button and the cancel button in the reverse order that you might be accustomed to. So this happens to me often when I'm working on this tool, and it's that I end up clicking in cancel. It's so retarded. Okay, click OK. And yeah, I mean, as you can see the image, because we are applying a two-dimensional effect, that means we don't have 3D objects in our scene. We are applying a two-dimensional effect, which applies to the entire video feed. The view, so my scene panel has changed from 3D view to 2D view. If I click here in View 3D Scene, I go back, but as you can see, this gives us no insight whatsoever about what kind of post-processing filter we have enabled. Because the 3D view is, the purpose of the 3D view is to show you 3D objects in your scene. And if you want to see what's currently active, you go to 2D. Okay, I'm quite satisfied with this filter, so I'm just gonna let it be. Another thing that I want to show you is, so over here, the effects that you see that are currently active in my scene, first I go black and white, and then I apply halftoning. This might be important. In some filters, this is really important. Like the order in which things get rendered in the stack does matter. So for example, if I drag the halftone up, as you can see, what happens is that first it applies the halftoning, so you get this dotted image, and then it applies the black and white. So then the end result is black and white. And because all effects are rendered from top to bottom, the last one that is visible, let's say, the last one that has the visible effect is always the one that is at the bottom. Observe how when I click and drag up, one line up, the black and white filter, the order reverses and also the effect changes. So that's also kind of really fertile territory for experimentation, because you can kind of go nuts with this and start adding all kinds of post-processing effects. Like, for example, let's add flower. What the hell is flower? I don't know what flower is, but it does some kind of color correction stuff. Let's try and drag it before. Well, it does make sense to have color correction stuff when you're working in black and white, right? So I'm going to disable the black and white for a moment by clicking over there, and I go back to the flower, and in flower I can probably, here in flower I can probably change some. No, I cannot change the texture. It's kind of like a fixed effect. It only has one possible thing. What the hell does flower do? Let's disable flower, and let's enable flower. Yeah, it's like some kind of increase the saturation of the scene or something. Make everything look a bit richer in color. That was probably not a good example. So, but then that way you also learn about this feature, which is that when I right click on any element in my scene graph, I can also delete it, and poof, it's gone. Never to return. It's gone. All right, let's say that I'm satisfied with this filter. It's like, wow, this is exactly what I wanted. So let's just publish this lens. Over here, so there are a few buttons here that I didn't explain in my last tutorial, but over here you have, this is the size of your current lens. Now, because we depend on Snapchat to be able to publish our filters, Snapchat gives us a maximum of 4 megabytes of space. So everything, all the assets and any scene that we might want to do has a maximum of 4 megabytes. You will see that as you add assets, this size will grow. So it has this little thing here that shows this green dot as long as you are below that maximum. And because everything has to be properly validated by social media, it tells you that you are awesomely on track. Over here we have the project info. So I'm going to change this. This is the title of your filter. So this is how people is going to find you if they search for something like this. So I'm going to call this half-toning pink. This is a really awful name. You really have to be a bit more creative. But you know what? I'm kind of streaming, and I'm hearing the people upstairs in the kitchen starting to work, and there's a ton of things in my head right now. There we go. Half-toning, and over here, this is a bit what I said about the modes of interaction. So this is the hint. So over here you can choose, you can select, okay, I want this snap filter to be enabled when I blow a kiss, or when I come closer to the camera, or when I find when the filter finds a face, or when I kiss, or when I kiss twice, or when I look around, and blah 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 blah. There are loads of possible interactions. So yeah, feel free to explore this. In our case, we're not going to enable any of this, but as you can see, kind of most of these tools come with a preset way of kind of reducing human behavior to a number of actions that you can possibly derive interactions from. And over here, this is where you define your preview. And your preview is a little video that either you can just add your own preview yourself, or when you click in plus, Snapchat will automatically generate from the preset videos that they provide for the front-facing and the back-facing camera. They will apply the filter for you so that you can have a little preview. So I'm going to choose, no, I'm not going to choose that. That's kind of boring. I'm going to choose this one. I have no idea what that is, but it's just better than any boring whole thing, right? And then over here, if you have like some kind of avatar or some brand identification that you want to be found by in Snapchat, you can also add a little icon there. There, to be precise. So in this plus, if you have a round icon that you would like to have as kind of your identity logo instead of your avatar, then you can add that. And then once you're done, you click apply. And this is basically the information that Snapchat will use in their social network to identify your lens. Once you're done, you can go here to, well, you can just say publish lens, actually. Sorry, I can go back to that window and publish lens. So I've done all the project info that I needed, and over here I can add tags. In my case, I'm not going to add anything. I'm not so interested in this half-toning effect. I've done this, it takes like 2 minutes to do this, so yeah, I'm not yet proud of this work, so I'm not necessarily putting tags on it. I don't necessarily want it to be found. So once we are done, we can just click in submit, and then it will go into the queue. And what you can see over here is that the work that I've done in the past is live. It's already live. So all these filters that I made in the past are live, and the one that I just published, called halftoning, is in review. Now, this is another important distinction to make between Spark AR and Lens Studio, and that's that with Snapchat, with Lens Studio, you can publish, and the review process is kind of automatic. They don't really check a lot of stuff. It just goes to make sure that you're not uploading like a virus to their social network or something like that, and then it will be live in a few minutes. Whereas with Spark AR, because Instagram is a much more, let's say, sensitive network, the review process is done by, I don't know exactly what, but it can take up to 2 weeks. So that means that you can make a filter, and before it's available in the social network, it can take up to 2 weeks before it's there. They do very strict policing on any kind of content, which also affects, of course, content creators. And Lens Studio is just a little bit more nimble in this kind of stuff, and it allows you to experiment much more quickly. So I mean, if I go back to my lenses now, I can obtain a list of all the work that I've done in the past, and you can see that my halftoning filter is live. There you go. It's already live. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to get from this live filter and use it, for example, in Snap Camera, which can then help you show your work in your next teleconference call, so you're not always looking at the same kind of boring pixels all the time. So over here, so I'm gonna repeat this action so that you see the entire thing. All right. So if I go to my lenses and I click in my lenses, there we go again. Click. Here, okay, this is my profile there, and then over here we have a list of lenses that have been published. I click on this thingy here, on this arrow, and then there is a button here that says share. There's a bunch of other things that you can do here, but you can even indicate that you don't want to promote this. But anyway, we can go into a bit more critical perspective on this some other time, on a one-to-one if you like, because I really love face filters, but I really hate social media. Here on share, once you click on share, you see that a link appears, and that link, this is what is going to help us actually locate the filter. So I'm going to copy that link, I'm going to close that window, and then I'm going to start Snap Camera. Snap Camera is another one of the pieces of software, again by the Snapchat company, and I asked you if you could please install this before the week began, and this is what Snap Camera looks like. Hey, that's me, hello. You haven't seen my face all this time. It's me, it's really me, the world's worst YouTuber. And over here you can see that it says search lenses, and I could try and search my name by typing here halftoning, but actually what I find is, again, because there is such strong content policing in social media, there are, first of all, there's a million people that have probably published filters with the same name, and then also finding your own, if I just published it and it became approved, it might be the case that it's not instantly searchable. So the trick here to be able to use the one that you just created is you just copy here the link. This is a cool feature that they added last year, and this allows you to basically the share link that you have been given in Lens Studio is the locator basically to find your own face filter, and there we are. That's it. Ta-da! And if I now, you can take photos and make videos and do whatever you like with Snap Camera. Snap Camera can also serve as a virtual camera, so I'm actually going to try that. I'm going to try that in Zoom. I think this computer has Zoom installed. Let's try and fuck around with Zoom a little bit. Zoom, hello Zoom, yes, Zoom. So Snapchat is now running, and Snap Camera is also running. Actually, I don't need Lens Studio doesn't have to run anymore. I'm just going to save my project here. I'm going to save this my desktop. I'm going to call this halftone filter, and just going to save my work. And once it's published, actually you don't need to run Studio anymore. You can just save the content and quit. Oh, that was Zoom. Sorry, I'll do that again. Zoom. Okay. So I'm running Snapchat with my filter. I mean, the filter is now hosted in Snapchat server, so you don't need Lens Studio anymore. And over here, I'm gonna, yeah, if I create a new meeting, this is Zoom you're looking at now. I join with my computer audio, blah, blah, blah. And then over here, when I click on Start Video, by default, I believe it's going to go to my webcam, but don't have a webcam. And here I can select the snap camera. There we go. And if I select my snap camera and start the video, I'm on Zoom. And, you know, you can see me in Zoom through the filter. I think most of you know this, like this became like the pandemic's most joyful toy, I think. Like this is actually what made some meetings fun. And I'm not suggesting that you use it with your clients, but you know, it could be a presentation format for when we have to present our work on Friday remotely. If you don't feel confident doing video when you're not here. So yeah, you have now seen the entire production chain from you know, starting Lens Studio from scratch to having an actual lens that you made be used in a Zoom call. And with that, I'm gonna end the Zoom call, and I'm gonna end the Zoom call for all because it's a crowd in here. I close Snapchat, and that's the end of this video. Thank you, bye.